And coming to you live here from Cancun, a Mexican city on the Yucatan Peninsula bordering the Caribbean Sea. It is known for its beaches, numerous resorts, and nightlife, as you can see sort of around.
Nightlife? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. See sort of around us, yeah.
Oh my god. Next time we need like floaties, you know, we need like ducks like around our arms, and we need like the swimming goggles as well, you know? Let's go.
We need like glasses with umbrellas in them.
Piña
coladas.
Yeah.
Yes, we are here with Grand Platypus Open, number holiday edition question mark? Number 82. I'm of course your host Yaku of Zaku, and with me today is La Serpiente Ferdelance que es menos que Jik. Light _ VIP. How we relaxing, Light?
Mate, we be chilling here on Pride of Altaris in Cancun. Where else would we be? We featured this morning. We have a new feature going on here in Discord. We have some like budget green screens going on. They're not amazing, they're not beautiful, but you know what? It's good enough. It's
good enough. Look. It's the green screens that fit our budget. It covers enough, you know?
Yeah!
Like, there's barely much clipping.
It's fine, it's fine.
Right,
our faces are perfectly intact. It's our hands that sometimes go off into the abyss, you know?
Oh!
You're getting dusted, mate. You're getting snapped, mate. Oh god.
I don't feel so good.
Too soon, mate. Too soon.
But yes, we haven't jabbered on long enough, and I just realized we forgot to intro our players, or at least I did. As we start on Pride of Altaris, LE, in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our Red Zug player coming down from India. He is, of course, going to be representing Alpha X. He is Demi.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pride of Altaris, LE. This time not going for a Forge first, otherwise I would have cut you off. Things have been pretty chill here at the start of game number 1. We have the Australian Protoss player. He is blue, representing the Cranky Ducklings. It is StarDuck.
Players are just chilling the build orders, which is very much in line with the atmosphere we're going for today.
Oh yeah, we all be chilling here, and I did want to give a quick shout out to Sounder in the chat. Thank you so much for the 14-month subs in a row, almost in a row. Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support, Sounder, especially when it comes to the Oceanic and Southeast Asian scene. We appreciate it, the players appreciate it, and oh boy. Yeah, thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
I feel like a part of you was like, we quacking, let's go. God,
it's entirely what it is.
Oh god. But what I'm excited about is that StarDuck, he has returned, and it seems like his internet issues have been fixed.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate that we had kind of two high profile matches that StarDuck had to forfeit recently. Obviously one in Inset Champs and another in BTL. Both matchups that I think if he did play, he probably would have gotten pretty far in.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we were robbed. For those wondering, over the weekend, StarDuck was supposed to play against Azure in ANZ Champs, and he had to forfeit because of internet issues, and he totally could have taken that series. It was a bit of a feels bad, man. Also, this weekend, he was supposed to play in Berserker Team League for us, the Cranky Ducklings, and he also had to forfeit there as well. We casted that this morning through replays. So, yeah, it's been really rough, just because we know how good StarDuck is. We know that like he loves the feeling of competing and of like being out there and showing off his medal and stuff, and it's a shame that like that was stopped and it was out of his control, you know?
Pretty much. The worst time in the world for the Australian internet to drop like a drop bear.
Yeah. If people want someone to blame, at MF_Chasu on Twitter.
Is he in charge of it?
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to fix it, mate. He was supposed to fix. He was the one out there, you know, trying to repair the lines in the middle of the Pacific, and he failed us, mate. What happened?
And that's why we had to go to Cancun.
Exactly, mate. We had to fix it ourselves. Oh god. But so far this game has been pretty passive, which is kind of to be expected. I say kind of, like Planet of Altaris is the longest map in the map pool, so trying to pull off something like early aggression or even queen walks feels a little bit difficult to pull off.
Yeah, I think I remember in the first week or two when we had the new map pool, we did see a lot of Zerg players immediately just go straight for that highway, straight for the Queen March immediately. But then very quickly they realized, wait a minute, this is taking way too long.
Yeah.
It's probably better if we just take the gold base and sort of turtle up into hive tech as quickly as possible.
Exactly, and honestly, I'm a little bit surprised by StarDuck. Like, Demi, the way that he's playing makes perfect sense. You know, he's expanding, he's taking things slow, he's getting a lair up and running, he's getting his gold base, which has just been scouted. But StarDuck, he actually committed, and he's going for, like, a pseudo soul train. Like, he's been pumping out Immortals, Sentries, he just threw down 4 additional gateways as well.
Oh, I did not even notice how many sentries he had. Sort of Warp Prism in production, I thought, ooh, Chargelet Rush, alright, that's definitely one heck of a way to shut down a Zerg player who wants to go greedy on a map like Pride of Altaris, but this is old school coming out from StarDuck.
Exactly, older than he himself, actually. And Demi hasn't scouted this at all. Demi is going for double Spire, by the way. He's investing in 2 Spires for upgrades. And again, Corruptors and Mutants are not what he needs right now. Right now, he needs Roaches, Lings, and army on the ground, not just like droning up and expanding.
Yeah, he really does not realize what's coming his way. Which, for the most part, this does sort of make sense, but what a beautiful force field coming out from StarDuck, trapping every single one of these drones.
Wow.
I was gonna say, Demi losing this base is fine. He still has a lot of workers, but with that move, StarDuck has been able to get himself a lot of momentum, actually.
Exactly, and the creep shred isn't that great here. Like, sure, it's pushing out into the middle of the map, but not so much on the right-hand side. So StarDuck, he takes 1 base, he is looking to take another. He has plenty of energy for force fields, but Demi just warped in, just morphed in a bunch of Ravagers.
Yeah, just about enough to deal with the force field set. Should be coming his way. StarDuck does not want to overextend. His sentries are actually looking a little vulnerable.
Oh god, exactly. He has to be so careful. StarDuck is obviously banking a decent amount of resources. He could have warped in another wave of units. Instead, he backs off, doesn't try to take another base. And this is worrisome. I was like, yo, if StarDuck takes 2 hatcheries, okay, he's fine. He's golden. But Demi, again, has those spires. He can go into mutas if he wishes.
StarDuck was almost golden, but Demi is retaking the gold, so
do
with that what you will.
What I will say is that, mate, StarDuck has not stopped worker production. Like, he's still ahead in probes, and he's not going Skytoss.
Huh. This is a new one on me when it comes to StarDuck, anyway.
Yeah.
For the longest time, throughout both 2020 and 2021, StarDuck has mostly gone for Stargate. Even if he went for Gateway styles, eventually you find himself back into a Sky Toss composition.
Do you think this has something to do with the fact that, you know, he's been suffering from a lot of internet issues, he's playing a lot of Age of Empires? Do you think he forgot how to play PvZ? It's definitely possible. See, at first I thought you were going to say, you know, with all these internet issues, you think that he's going for something less micro-intense. I'm like, well, it may explain why he hasn't been going for Blink this long, but then I realized, wait a minute, you still need to get your micro on point when it comes to using sentries, and he is finishing up Blink right now, so yeah. That he is. The mutas do get across the map. They revealed themselves earlier because they were able to take down one of the warp prisms that was out on the map. And with that, the mutas shouldn't deal too much damage. I say shouldn't deal too much, but 8 probes did go down. Decent amount of damage. At the same time, StarDuck doesn't care at all. He's pushing out through the center of the map.
Yeah, I want to call this space straight, but not quite. Let's see how the main army engages. Decent force fields just after the Ravagers shoot their Biles.
Oh god, exactly. Meanwhile, the Biles do connect with the army, not so much with the force field. So StarDuck, he does trade okay, but he has to be so careful when it comes to pushing onto creep. There's a lot of Roaches and a lot of Ravagers.
really does. StarDuck doesn't have too many immortals, and a lot of his immortals are actually trapped in the back, getting a little bit body blocked by the stalkers, but sometimes stalkers are all you need.
Sometimes it is all you need here as we see an aggressive blink forward. We do have 12 more roaches in production, but you know what? They're in production. They're not done yet. Meanwhile, oh, again, the Biles, they just keep connecting, but the Ravagers, they don't finish. And honestly, there's not too much here to buffer for them left.
Yeah, very ambitious move there from Demi, trying to morph those Ravagers in that position. But with that, StarDuck will take absolute advantage, and I just don't see a way for Demi to stop this pain train.
Yeah, exactly. He almost gets the goal base. The boys are being pulled off the line. It doesn't even matter. There's just too much Protoss here. What I will say is that, again, it's difficult for StarDuck to reinforce, but it doesn't even matter. GG gets called, and StarDuck takes game number 1.
You only made a handful of Stargate units that game. I'm impressed.
Yeah, he made like 1 Void Ray, an Oracle, and a Phoenix.
One of each. Didn't even get a fleet beacon.
There you go, mate. That's all you need.
Oh. It is really great to see StarDuck diversifying his play, though.
Yeah, for the longest time, Skytoss is all he did. Well, to be fair, like, sure, he would like open up with cannon rushes sometimes, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then he'd throw in a timing attack, but also usually very few and far between. And if he did kill his opponent with them, which he usually didn't, he'd go back to Skytoss.
Yeah, it's
which
just...
worked out really well for him. It's just, you know, it's starting to get a little figured out.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to be predictable in StarCraft. That's the last thing you want to be. So it's great to see StarDuck kind of like branching out a little bit, finding success elsewhere, and to take a game off of Demi is really impressive, because it's one of those things that I bring up sometimes. When it comes to the oceanic scene, a lot of the players are playing Age of Empires. When it comes to the Southeast Asian scene, it's not really the case. There are a handful of players. I think the most notable is Miyumaika is playing Age of Empires. But outside of that, all these other guys, like, they're still laddering StarCraft. Like, they're still taking this very seriously. So it's really impressive for StarDuck to take game 1 here.
Yeah. Definitely is. Demi has been one of the players who's kind of been taking advantage of the fact that a lot of the other regional players have been playing a lot of AoE, and so he's been really practicing hard. He's been laddering a ton throughout the past couple of weeks. But now, unfortunately, he had to start this tournament to get StarDuck, so...
Yeah, apparently, unfortunately, because, I mean, StarDuck popping off in game 1. Can he keep up this momentum? That is the question here, because, again, Demi, he's the Shark. He's still a terrifying opponent.
Well, we'll see. He did kind of get a little caught off guard with that pseudo Soul Train build from StarDuck, but now we'll see. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky to get the jump on him twice. Anyway, we're going to be continuing on Hardwire LE. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a Red Zerg player coming down from the land of India. He is going to be representing Alpha X, the Shock himself. He is Demi.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Cranky Duckling himself, the Australian Protoss player. He is blue. It is StarDuck. Currently leading this series, mate.
Yeah. Insane. And now all my eyes are on him.
Yeah,
typically in a StarDuck PV. Yeah. But wait, one. Yeah, all my eyes on him. Typically in a StarDuck PVZ, I'm thinking, yeah, you know, we'll maybe see him go for that macro forge, sort of expand. He's gonna eventually go into Stargates. He's gonna eventually go into Void Rays. But after game number 1, I'm even more curious.
Yeah, it kind of leaves the door open for anything, and you touched on it, and it was a very good point towards the end. The cleaner button.
Didn't spam click it fast enough.
Oh my god, every time.
Enough, I should say.
Like, Hardwire is brutal when it comes to the natural cleaner bot, mate. Especially here on the southern half of the map.
I get double lucky on Hardwire because 1, I play Terran, so it's not as it's a little bit more forgiving, but also 2, I think 90% of the time I spawn to the north, so never have to worry about that.
Yeah, there's something about this northern bot that stays clear of that location, for the most part. So, but what I was gonna say is that you raised a good point in saying that Demi last game he never scouted. He made a lot of assumptions. That's why he was going like double spire and stuff like that, right? And he was being greedy. He had no idea about the massive Sentry and Immortal push. And what was great about it is that if you notice, StarDuck, he was like skirting the edge of the map with it as well. Like when he showed up at the go base, that was the first sign that Demi had of it.
Yeah, he didn't go by the main rush path. He didn't go past the Zelnaga Tower, which I believe Demi was controlling with a queen or something. Really well hidden from StarDuck, and that's sort of why we see Demi being a lot more vigilant this game with his Overlord.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he needs to be more vigilant because he's got no goddamn idea. Is it going to be Sky Toss? Is it going to be another Immortal push? Is it going to be a Charge the All-In? Is it going to be Glaive of Depths? It could be anything. Demi, though, he's not like Ryu. You know, he's not the kind of player to invest in Numazai's carapace, so he does cut corners to be a little bit more efficient.
I was worried you were about to start throwing shade there. I was like, oof. But yeah, you are right on that. Demi and a lot of the other regional Zerg players, for some reason, just aren't too fond of Numazai's carapace. Yeah.
Which is fair. It's basically like they feel confident that they can scout without it. But sometimes they don't.
Usually can, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually they can, but those few moments where they can't, it is brutal.
Definitely. Speaking of brutal, once again, we do have a Robo being thrown down. This time, though, it is directly under the Overlord of Demi, so Demi does scout this. He's well aware of the follow-up and aware that there is no Twilight Council.
Yeah, so that's at least one thing Demi can cross off his list, but now seeing the Void Ray as well as the Robo facility, things are still a little bit up in the air.
Exactly. It could be anything. Like, honestly, StarDuck has done this before, where he just goes, as soon as the Robo is done, he throws down a Robotic Spade to go into, like, Disruptor drops or something like that instead.
Yeah, defensive Disruptors aren't too uncommon. Disruptor drops, though, also not that uncommon, but a little bit more rare than defensive Disruptors, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, this Adept was caught way out of position, was not up against that pylon, so the Lings will be able to get a kill there, also get a probe. Meanwhile, we have an Immortal on the way here for StarDuck.
Okay. You know what I say, you never make an Immortal unless you intend to use it.
True, and I love this because even though there's an Immortal coming out, and that may get scattered as well, which is just like game number 1, we have a second Stargate being thrown down.
Interesting. So a little bit more of the StarDuck that we're used to. He's continuing to pump out more and more Void Rays, as well as +1.
Yeah, exactly. And Demi scouting this 7x core, he should be aware. He's like, oh, okay, there's an upgrade coming. It can only be +1 air attack. I am well aware of the Sky Toss.
Yeah, it could be Gateway, but now that he scouts that. Wait a minute. We're 5 minutes in the game, and also, yeah, you already have Warp Gate. Yeah, no. It can only be +1.
I like to give Demi the benefit of the doubt that he's aware of that. Oh, God. As Lings dip in, 3 more probe kills. That's not insignificant. So Demi, he's doing what he can. And what's interesting is that he is making a wave of roaches. He doesn't have too many queens. He's got 6 of them so far. Is that going to be enough if he goes for a push? Actually, instead, investing into roach speed.
Interesting. Well, I guess the wave of roaches is more defensive than anything. He's got a really good spread of creep out right now.
Oh,
and I was wondering what StarDuck was going to use that Immortal for, and it turns out Immortal Drop is the answer.
Let's go. It actually cancels the 4th base. It can trade well against roaches, queens, and ravagers. We have a second Immortal on the way as well. This is a little yeah, this is a little bit wonky, but I kind of love it.
I love it too with the stasis ward there. I was a little worried for a second because I thought, wait a minute, one Zergling is gonna activate that stasis ward. Not entirely worth it, but I realized, well, that still blocks a hatchery.
Yeah. It really does. Meanwhile, the Immortal gets dropped once again, doing what he can to just chip away at the Zerg army. Demi forced to expand at the triangular 3rd for his 4th base, I mean. And he's trying to go mutas again.
Okay. Well, we did see that while Demi ended up losing game number 1, the mutas that he got did really well in the harass.
Yeah.
There was a moment where both StarDuck and Demi were neck and neck when it came to the worker count, but with that harass, Demi just suddenly shot up. Or I guess it was more of StarDuck plummeted.
Yeah, that
Still.
he did. So obviously Demi, he loves his mutas and he can find a lot of damage with them. And again, this is so interesting from StarDuck. He just keeps switching his tech. He made a massive wave of Void Rays. He has 8 of them right now, and he's going to be moving out to deny more bases and deal damage. And he is hard switching back again into 6 gates to add to the initial 2. So 8 gateways, as well as a Twilight Council.
God damn, this is not something you see too often from a Protoss player, but with how passive Demi has been this game, with how passive he's kind of been tricked into being by StarDuck, StarDuck can absolutely get away with all these crazy tech switches. Really expensive tech switches too.
Exactly, it's not the most fluid thing, because again, the most fluid thing is you got +1 air attack. You know, why not commit into a fleet beacon and go into carriers? What I say about that though is that +1 flyer attack is on the way. Like, Demi is ready to switch into corruptors if he needs to. But he's not going to need to, because more gates are being thrown down. He's just going to charge the Archon.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That's Corruptors are exactly what you want to see when you go charge an Archon, I suppose.
Oh god, speaking of, the Oracle's dealing a lot of damage. We do have the 5th base being denied here by these Void Rays. Little Void Rays have to be careful. They do commit into a fight here, but there's plenty of energy for Transfuse.
There is a lot of Transfuse energy. A couple of Queens start to go down, but so do a couple of Void Rays. While they were all distracted, though, this one Oracle got 7 more kills.
Ooh.
7 more drone kills.
Exactly, 7 drone kills alongside 2 Lings. We do see a massive drone wave on the way here from Demi, so he's trying to catch back up. But back at home, like, this is a really scary ground army. StarDuck, though, he doesn't have a lot of vision on the map, and there's a massive counterattack.
Yeah, and honestly, not too many defenses by this base location. A single shield battery, and it's far to the north of this base. Also, no units that can actually take advantage of that till now.
Yeah, exactly. As we do have the overcharge, we do need him to target the Nexus, though. As again, the Nexus is going to, oh, it could go down. At the same time, StarDuck doesn't care. He's just going across the map. He is not coming back home.
We are going full base trait mode here. And of course, StarDuck still has plenty of energy on his other Nexuses. Still has a recall available if he needs to, but before that, he wants to deal as much damage as possible. He really wants to make sure Demi is crippled here economically.
And what's important is that 1, Nexus survived.
Wait, what?
2, Demi made a wave of mutas, and he's like, oh no, there are Archons. Like, what are the mutas going to do against all these Archons?
Did those chargelets back home really chase away all of these roaches?
They killed the roaches.
They did. They did. They killed the roaches, and what remained were chased down by the rest of them. We can see how quickly these mutas fall to the splash damage of the Archons, and just like that, StarDuck 2-0's Demi, mate! 2-0. 2-0.
I am in.
Despite a week of internet issues.
And playing Age of Empires 4, mate.
Oh, my phone is connected to my, whatchamacallit. I don't believe it.
I am in shock. Gee, well played, StarDuck. Like, I was excited about the series. I thought it would go maybe to the ace match, but Demi would still win. But StarDuck just completely bamboozled Demi, just completely played him. Just the way that StarDuck was tech switching is something that you don't see too often in PvZ. It's crazy.
It really is. It definitely feels like after that first game, StarDuck kind of struck that fear into Demi, right? And that's why in game number 2 he was playing so passively, and he was trying to scout as much as possible, but his scouts kept getting denied by the Void Rays. So because of that, he adopted a more defensive approach, and StarDuck just took full advantage of that. You usually aren't able to get away with tech switching that early on as a Protoss player in a PvZ. But StarDuck made it happen.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he just really just played the player there, I feel, because again, specifically because of the tech switches and the army compositions that he was going for, he never scouted the Spire, but it's Demi. You know he wants to go mutas. And Demi blindly, like after his Roach run by was as it was being cleaned up by Zealots, he was like, all right, let's go, Muta Key, let's go. And then suddenly Archon show up and it's like, oof, what is even happening, you know? Oh my god.
GG, well played. And this might sound a little controversial, but in my mind, StarDuck has another Zerg player to face right now, and in my mind, if you can take out Demi, you can take out Mio Micah.